YouTube and Twitter. Tonight, I'm joined by James and Will as we discuss everything from the series opening loss to the Phillies. Guys, how are we doing today?
Man, what a crappy way to start a Tuesday, or to end a Tuesday, I guess. But watching Schwarber come in, we all were like looking forward to this, seeing Schwarber come back. We're all kicking ownership, and I had that instance where I'm like, okay, first inning, it's kind of like seeing your ex-girlfriend on the street, and you're like, oh, I'm so much better off without you. Here we are, like we didn't need you. And then he hits an absolute bomb to right field in the first inning, and you're like, "Oh shit! Like, maybe we should get back together." Call me, right?
Yeah.
Jeez, we need Kyle Schwarber to call us and jump over, but we're not going to pay him or do anything like that. But either way, what like this? It gets really tiring. Night after night, seeing the same thing. Late inning heroics coming up short. First few innings, just non-competitive at bats. Giving them, we'll obviously talk about it, but less than 10 pitch innings, that's ridiculous. But James, I'll let you give us your thoughts.
Yeah, it was super predictable that Schwarber was going to go deep at some point in the series. I texted one of my buddies who's a Phillies fan before the series. I was like, Schwarber's probably going to go like 2 for 12 in the series, with both of those hits being like 450-foot moonshots. And, the half season we had him for in 21 was awesome. For whatever reason, it wasn't a pair. They didn't want 2 DHs with him and Martinez on the roster. Somehow couldn't make first base work, whatever. The way Alex Cora was talking about him last summer, it thought the Sox would be somewhat aggressive after him in the offseason, but they don't like to be aggressive after anyone. And, Schwarber, Marsh, and Harper are carrying this Phillies offense right now. They're 11-3 under Mattingly in their last 14, and they were in a similar position to you when they fired Thompson, and they are now 2 under 500. And a positive run differential since Mattingly has taken over, and you're still one of the worst offenses in the sport and a team that can't get anything going. And obviously you're facing Zack Wheeler tonight, who shoved against the Sox last year in Philly, 10 strikeouts, and tonight was, arguably even better. 7 1/3. He did it all. I was surprised he didn't finish the game just with the way it started, 16 pitches through 3 innings. But the Phillies are kind of everything that you would want to be after firing their manager. Obviously they have more talent than you, but the offense continues to be anemic. The least amount of runs scored at home this year by any team in Major League Baseball. That trend continues. And when you're going up against Wheeler, you need to do anything, because it felt like it was over when Schwarber hit that leadoff homer. Just felt like it didn't matter who they were going against. The game was over.
So I put out the uniform tracker almost every day, giving the winning percentage in every single uniform for the Red Sox. The Red Sox are now 3-10 in the home whites. I know that's not exactly their home record, but that is good enough for a 239. It's good for a 239 winning percentage. Yeah. And that's just pathetic. That's not what you can think of when you think about the Red Sox winning at home. That's just awful.
Yeah, every good Red Sox team takes advantage of Fenway Park, makes it an intimidating place to play. And I remember watching the pregame show before the home opener. TC was like, every Red Sox team since 1975 or whatever has won at least 47 games at home and made the playoffs. And he was like, just being successful. And last year they won 47 on the nose at Fenway. This year, obviously, it's been anemic on every level, and it's something where it doesn't matter whether they're playing at home, on the road, on Saturn. They can't play well anywhere, and they can't execute. And it's unfortunate because Bayo is actually pretty good tonight. He's been one of the worst pitchers in baseball this year, and he turned in a pretty good outing after Moran with the opener. But obviously going against Wheeler in the offense, not doing much. And they had their chances, especially once Wheeler came out of the game in the 8th inning. Gasper comes up in that spot after Duran steals second and takes third on the throw. He strikes out, had their chance in the 9th against Duran, didn't do anything. So it was like, it wasn't for lack of chances overall. Wheeler got 2 double plays early. They had a little bit of traffic. They just literally did nothing.
Yeah, and absolutely sucks that so far this season the Red Sox were averaging, I think, just over 2 runs a game at Fenway. Yeah. Oh, you're not winning anything.
That's what TC just said.
Exactly. I think coming into tonight, it was a little bit above 2.5. I think obviously with 1 run scored today, it goes below that 2.5 mark. But either way, 2 or 3 runs if you're averaging that at home, that's awful. And I will give the Fenway faithful credit tonight. That 7th, 8th, and 9th, when we had runners on and whatnot, they were loud. That Willier should have been home run. Like,
dude, it's a home run in every ballpark except Fenway.
Ballpark. The Nesson camera man thought it was a home run.
29 out of 30 parks. That's a bomb.
Unbelievable. But either way, still, again, the crowd was lively. They were into it. And again, just like falling up short, can't hit with runners on, can't hit in general. It's just, it's ridiculous. And it's getting tiring.
Yeah.
Quality of the bats early on in the game were so annoying. It reminds me of early on in the year when they were 2-8. It's just really pathetic when they're just grounding into first pitch double plays or first pitch grounders or pop ups. It's just you cannot give a guy like Zack Wheeler 6 pitch innings, 4 pitch
No.
innings when he's one of the best pitchers on the planet. It just can't happen.
Yeah. No, and I think the biggest thing is that they scattered 7 hits tonight. They created enough traffic, but obviously they weren't able to generate anything with the traffic. And I think this game was a microcosm of the season. And Papelbon just said it on the post game. I don't know if I necessarily agree with him fully, but I'll take his side tonight. He was like, there were opportunities to play small ball to get bunts down, to get guys over, just to advance runners and whatnot. He's like, we didn't do anything. And I think, when you're a team like this that can't generate runs, you probably have to manufacture some, play a little bit more small ball than you're used to, especially with Tracy has coached a lot of this personnel in Worcester. Take advantage of it. And I think Pap and Jim Rice are pretty upset with how things are going, because that was not a happy bunch for the first 5-10 minutes that I listened to on the Nesson post game. And it's just the story of the season, and it really shows that without Contreras and without Anthony, this lineup is nothing besides Wilyer Abreu. Like nothing. Rafaela swung at a pitch 2 feet outside, and he's always going to swing, but it's like, dude, Duran is probably not throwing it in the strike zone. Just take it. I would rather you go down looking at this point than swing at that pitch. It's unbelievable that Story got on base. I was surprised he didn't chase anything, but it's like, I don't know what Rafaela was doing. And then, Meyer obviously with the weak ground.
That was the second ball four on Rafaela's at bat. The first one wasn't as egregious, but the second one was above his head.
So bad. I mean, for as good of a defender as he is, his approach at the plate, and I know he got the RBI single, whatever, but he has no approach. Like
Zero.
He just goes up there and swings and hopes that he makes contact. And in clutch situations, he usually does, but it's like, what are we doing here? Like, have an approach. And I think as a team, they lack an approach. They don't know whether they're looking fastball, whether they're looking breaking ball, whether they're looking changeup. It's like guys are just going up there as individuals and they're not hitting as a team. That's the other thing too.
It's crazy. In the 9th inning, that first pitch to Sadon was middle, grooved in there. If he got a pitch to hit, that's it. And coming from a guy who swung at every first pitch he saw last year, I mean, he looked like the guy that I faced in my softball league on Sunday. Just bat on shoulder, let's walk our way to a win. That's not going to happen, Sadon. You're facing major league pitching, man. Swing the effing bat. It's crazy to see.
Yeah, and I think a big key, this is the parallels between the Red Sox and the Phillies turnaround. Obviously, you have Harper and you have Schwarber leading the attack for them overall these last 14 games. But look at a guy like Marsh, a 13-game hitting streak now, another hit tonight. He's been on fire these last 2 weeks. It seemed like Duran had started to get it going after Cora got fired, and he has completely fell into the same guy that we saw at some points last year and all of this year. He's just completely struggled. And I think the parallels between Marsh taking off and the Phillies taking off and Duran staying where he's at and the Sox staying where they're at, like, you need more than just your catalyst to carry you. And clearly the Phillies are getting that. Now, obviously, outside of those three, it hasn't been much. Turner's having a down year, but Schwarber already up to 17 bombs, and it's not even June where he turns into prime Barry Bonds every year, it seems like. I think that was an interesting parallel, something that I just thought about during the game. And obviously, Brandon Marsh isn't necessarily the key to the Phillies the rest of the year. But like when you think about them turning it around these last 2 weeks, Marsh has really gotten it going. Not a guy that they necessarily expected to lead and carry them, but someone they expected to be in the starting lineup and be a solid piece. And for Duran, the Sox probably expect a little bit more out of than the Phillies expect out of Marsh. But it's an interesting parallel. The teams have gone in 2 different directions since they fired their managers, and one guy has gone this way, the other guy has gone down, and it's how both teams have trended too.
So Brandon Marsh actually leads the major leagues in batting average with 350 right now.
Yeah.
And then Kyle Schwarber leads the major leagues in home runs with 17, his leading home run tonight that went ahead to Judge. So the Phillies, when their superstars play at superstar level, they're always going to be playing well. Like you said earlier on in the show, I don't think they're going to win this division just because of how well the Braves are playing. I think this is a Braves year.
Yeah.
But this Phillies team's going to make the playoffs, and they're probably going to go far.
Yeah.
They're just too talented. And then with the way they're playing right now with the fire under them, I think they're going to go far in this league again.
Yeah, they're 4 games back of a wild card spot right now. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in the middle of June they are in that second wild card spot. It's a team that obviously, an older team, but came into the season talented. And, thoracic outlet syndrome is a surgery that ruins many guys' careers. Wheeler has come back from it like it's nothing. Like he missed a month with shoulder inflammation or whatever it may be. He's come back and hasn't skipped a beat. And Christopher Sanchez, obviously thank God we skip him, because that was like we talked about on Sunday's show, that was the best start of any pitcher against the Red Sox last year. Against that offense, I would be so scared to see what he would do against this year's offense. I don't care if it was at Fenway and last year was at Citizens Bank. I am, last year Romy Gonzalez hit the grand slam off of Luzardo.
But again, that's the kind of thing that's a huge indicator as to where we are.
Yeah.
And I want the Red Sox to now start start realizing that, again, we can't play like the Phillies. We can't play like we have Harper and Schwarber and Marsh on our team, but rather look at the Rays that we just faced for 3 games, right? They play that small ball really well. Caminero obviously is a monster. Already covered that, but they were bunting, single, aggressive base running. It's like they know how to move guys up and play that kind of small ball without a Schwarber caliber, slugger. And yes, Caminero, I know, but still, go along with me for a second here.
Yeah.
We don't have those pieces even fully healthy. Roman has not been that guy yet. And who knows when we're going to see him, right? Who knows when we're going to see
He still has
Contreras.
a brace on the wrist, according to Healy today.
There's no way we see him back on, was it Friday?
Friday would be the minimum.
There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
And like whenever I see Schwarber do anything, I just wonder why the Red Sox, if they didn't want to re-sign JD Martinez, why they couldn't make it work for 1 year and 22, and then Schwarber just moves into that DH role. As Carabas dubbed him, Kyle from Waltham, like he's a homegrown kid. But seriously, like there's no reason as to why they couldn't make it work for 1 year and then he just slides into the DH spot. We've talked about this ad nauseum. Every great Red Sox team has had an absolute slugger at DH. You have Ortiz for the first 3 World Series, then Martinez in 18. It's like there was no reason why Schwarber couldn't do that, and he's probably going to hit his way to 500 home runs in the Hall of Fame at this rate. Like he just doesn't slow down.
Again, and we touched upon it after the Yankees series too. Same with the Phillies. These teams have guys that you build a lineup around where you go, all right, these are your 2, 3, 4, 5 hitters. Now we can have some flexibility with the other numbers. The Red Sox, however, again, Mickey Gasper in the 2-hole. Every night it's almost like, all right, Willier's gonna be 3. But then it's like after that, it's a crapshoot.
They circle Abreu, they circle Contreras, and they might circle Anthony, and that's it.
If
There's
they're
nobody
healthy.
in this line. Correct. Right now, you're circling Abreu, and there's nobody else in this lineup who you fear.
It's pathetic.
Good points there. But the next thing I do want to talk about is Wilson Contreras. I thought it was very weird that he wasn't available off the bench today. Chad Tracy just confirmed that he was not available today, but he should be good to go in the starting lineup tomorrow. If he should be good to go in the starting lineup today, why is he not available off the bench in a big spot against the Phillies late in a ball game? That's what I say. If you're trying to win this season, which it kind of sounds like Craig Breslow and Chad Tracy still want to do, and I still want to do, Wilson Contreras needs to hit in one of those spots. I really, he had a day off yesterday. Why does he need 2 days off? This is not a guy that this is like a kind of an asshole of a take, but like this is a guy you're probably going to trade in a few months. Play him. Who cares? Like he got hit in the arm. He always gets hit. He's going to get hit again.
Yeah, they probably want to make sure he bounces back tomorrow, because if he doesn't, then they can retro IL him to Monday. That would be my guess. I don't know. Like, obviously, I want to keep winning, but like if they keep losing and that means Breslow's out of here, then fine. But it to me, it's kind of like it's a win-win either way. Like you win, you somehow you're not making the playoffs either way, but you build momentum to next season, or things completely go off the rails and Breslow's vision, quote unquote, doesn't work out, and that's the only guy that Henry and Kennedy and the rest of ownership and the front office have. I mean, the rest of the ownership group have to pin on the front office. It's like, all right, this was your guy, this was your team. We bailed on Cora this early because you said we still had 135 games left and it didn't work out. Like, that's why I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, I still want to win every game. I go into every game wanting to win, but if they lose, it's like, all right, maybe it's a day closer to getting Breslow fired. As Johnny Gomes said, 2013, you're just a day closer to the parade. Maybe we're a day closer to getting our 5th CBO in the last 8 years. What a great spot to be in.
What a great track record. But again, also too, both Will Fleming and Dave O'Brien, I listened to both. They were both talking about how much Contreras was blasting the ball in BP.
Yeah.
And like he looked completely normal too. There has to be a reason why he wasn't available off the bench. And
exactly. They were talking about it all game long. It's very, very weird that like
also like
there,
if you're going
there was a
Wheeler,
spot for him too.
Lineup out there.
Like I understand maybe not starting him, but maybe when there's an actual spot for him late in the game with 2 runners on and Ceddanne Rafael is up, like, or
Right.
Marcelo Myers up, like, this is a spot for Wilson Contreras.
Yeah. Yeah, or in the spot that Gasper comes up in the 8th inning, it's just like especially when Duran gets to third. Obviously, that's mid count; it's a little bit different, but maybe that would have been the spot for him there too. You have the tying run on first.
There's many spots you could have used him.
But if he looked that good in BP, and you're going up against Wheeler, like why not start him at that rate? Like nothing that they're doing this year like adds up, and it's all puzzling. So from the injury front, at least, it's just I don't know. And so much for Duran getting, in trouble for calling out Michael Holley the other day. And
that's what I wanted to bring up next, because
and now it's like maybe he was right.
I want to talk about the Roman Anthony thing, because the comments. Does anyone have the comments pulled up? I can find them.
What, from Roman or from Duran?
Michael Holley.
No, the one today where it was like Roman Anthony's still wearing a brace on his sprained right hand / wrist. Upon greeting Bryce Harper, he awkwardly used his left hand instead of shaking with his right hand like normal. If he can't even shake hands, he's nowhere near playing baseball. That's what my take is. And I kind of agree now. Michael Holley, and the whole issue was Michael Holley said that the Red Sox are covering up injuries and not saying how bad they are. That's exactly what they do. And I think the whole thing with Jarren Duran's a non-issue, and he's just trying to back up as like his friend, but also he's telling the truth. Like they're both right.
I also think part of it with the media is that we listen to the player, because that's not the team talking. Anthony was the one who said he would probably be off the IL after the minimum. Crochet was the one who said it would probably be a minimum stint. That's the player. That's not the team. So it's like, I get what you're saying, but also I think lines are getting blurred where fans and the media and whoever are taking what the player is saying and being optimistic as the team saying it. And it's like, team's going to have a different view than the player. So it's like, it might not always be the team covering it up. The team might be being honest and the player might just being optimistic, but you want to be on the same page with you want the player and the team to be on the same page, the bottom line, before they go speak to the media about the injury in their first media availability sense. Like, I think that's the biggest thing, getting guys on the same page. And it's like, all right, if this is going to be more than minimum stint, just say it. Nobody's going to blame you. Like it's worse when you're backtracking after the fact, then people assume the worst. You have a setback. You have this whole thing with Duran, which should be a non-story, but because he has an OPS under 600 and people just love to take anything Jarren Duran says, positive or negative, and turn it into something, they're going to say something. So it's like, I think that's the biggest thing too, is the player and the team not being on the same page. Because maybe that's it too. Maybe, I don't know if the team is necessarily withholding anything, but maybe behind the scenes, the player and the team aren't on the same page. And it's not like we haven't seen that before in Red Sox history in the last 15 years. So.
Yeah, I do believe that whole situation with Duran was just amplified because it's Duran. People love to hate on him and people love to call him out. Honestly, yes, his comments, are comments, whatever. You are allowed to criticize whoever you want, regardless if you're an athlete or not. That's not my problem. If I'm getting paid to hit a baseball and I'm batting 189, maybe I want to delete my social media, my one platform, so I can lock a little bit more in. Maybe. Obviously, it hasn't worked since, but I don't look at that as like, he criticizes Michael Holley and then, he deletes his socials. I don't care. The injury part, though, again, James, you do make a great point with the players coming out saying that versus the team.
Yeah.
If it's happened more than once, as you pointed out, I want to see the team now not reinforce, but come out and say, hey, here's a more accurate timeline, right? And again, we heard from Crochet, we heard from Roman, and we didn't really hear too much from the team immediately afterward of like, all right, realistically, we're going to put him on the IL, right? It took days and days and days before putting on the IL. It's a lot of time for speculation and a lot of time for rumors and a lot of time of injury history and the little internet creeps that go in and find every reason to believe that we're never going to see Roman in a Red Sox uniform again. Enough. Yeah. Come out and just say what it is,
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, this goes back to when Jacoby Ellsbury got hurt in 2010. I feel like it goes back to that with his timeline, and I feel like everything, you can point to an injury almost every year where there's something shady about the timeline and whatnot.
It's tough, and it just adds to if this team is already playing well too, you're like, all right, fine, we can get by with that. But when your biggest news is when are we gonna get Roman back? When are we gonna see Contreras back? And these big names, it's like, a lot rides on that, and a lot of ticket sales ride on that too. John Henry. Keep that in mind.
Nick, I don't know if you had anything else on this, but I did want to touch on something else on the offense that Red Sox Stats tweeted out.
Go ahead.
Unless you had anything else.
No, not really.
Sure. So Red Sox stats earlier today, he tweeted out the stats before and after the coaching changes. So on from opening date April 25th and then April 26th on. So before the changes, they had a 9% walk rate, 23% strikeout rate, 292 BABIP, 233 average overall, 313 on base, 354 slug, and an 86 WRC plus, along with a 303 WOBA. Since the changes, the walk percentage is the same, 9%. K percentage is almost identical at 22%. The BABIP is down 3 points. The average is up 4 points, 237. OBP up 3 points, 316. The slugging percentage down 2 points at 352. WOBA up 1 point at 304. And the WRC plus exact same at 86. So everyone wants to talk about the Chad Sox. Everyone wants to talk about Cora was the issue, Fatsy was the issue, whatever it may be. Looks like the guy who assembled the roster might that might have been the issue, and it's just we don't have the talent. And I think a lot of us knew that we didn't have the talent. And it's like, look at the other side. I don't think Schwarber was leaving Philly this offseason, but like making a run at him would have made sense.
But he might have stayed 4 or 5 years ago, whatever that was, 5 years ago.
22.
Yeah.
And instead we signed Story, and look how that's turned out.
Of course, yeah. I made a post about Trevor Story a couple days ago, and it went about 50,000 views. It was. I'll bring it up. I mean, I think it was a big topic a couple days ago. Obviously, Trevor Story and all the
especially after Sunday with that error.
But yes, I think it was Monday afternoon when I tweeted it.
Yeah.
So I basically tweeted Trevor Story through four plus seasons as a member of the Boston Red Sox. The first bullet point: played in only 358 of possible 688 games, 52%, which is bad. He's accumulated a combined 6.5 FWAR over his entire Red Sox career. For reference, he posted a 6.0 in 2019 alone.
Juice balls, baby.
Colorado as well.
Yeah, Colorado.
This season, he's been completely unplayable with a 39 WRC plus while currently walking at a 4.2 walk percentage, which he walked today, which is unheard of, and striking out at a 33.3% clip. Not only should we be talking about moving on for Trevor Story, we should be talking about moving on him in the conversation for one of the worst Red Sox contracts in recent memory. I don't think he's a Pablo Sandoval contract.
No, not Crawford, not Sandoval.
But he's up there. He's bad, and it's not getting much better. It doesn't look like it. I know he had the resurgence last year, but
I was going to say
last year seems like an outlier at this rate, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's hard for me to like put a stamp on that in terms of 100% agree, only because of last year.
Yeah. Same here. And like the other guys, they were kind of bad apples in terms of like leadership. They soured really quick. Story is still talked about as I don't know how much of a leader you can be when you're not playing that well, but still talked about as a guy who's a leader in the clubhouse, someone who guys look up to, someone who has a great attitude and has leadership qualities. So it's like that from that point of it, it's like he took it really hard in 24 when he got hurt. He was crying at that presser after he separated his shoulder, 8 games into the season on that West Coast trip to start the season. So that, he's a guy, Sandoval just collected his check, wanted to go on Instagram during the game to look at Instagram models. Crawford, who knows what he was doing? The Dodgers bailed us out with that contract. But it's like Story is not a malcontent. He's not someone who is, poisoning the clubhouse, someone who's a bad influence on the culture. If anything, he's keeping some of the culture in place. But yeah, obviously besides last year, it's been a pretty frustrating contract. And he didn't really get going till June 1st last year. That double in Atlanta really started it. I don't see that happening this year. Maybe a trip to Atlanta this weekend will help revive that. I highly doubt it. I hope I'm wrong. But, that's the unfortunate part. And, if I saw that report the other day, I know you guys saw it about the Mets maybe wanting to do it. And again, who knows how legit that was. But it's like, I think every Red Sox fan on the planet was raising their hand. And probably Phillies and Braves fans too. They were probably like, yes, make the Mets worse. Like straddle them with another big money contract for a year and a half and see what happens. So, who knows if anyone will take him? I highly doubt it, but it's unfortunate because he's a guy you like and you want to root for and you want to see do well, and it hasn't clicked consistently.
Yeah, I saw that same tweet, and I think I replied, I would drive him to City Field, not Shea Stadium. I would drive him there myself and not even ask for gas money.
Yeah, I think most Red Sox fans probably would. It's unfortunate how that contract has turned out because that was really the defining contract of the Chaim Bloom era. I guess that and Yoshida, 2 contracts who are kind of sinking the playability of this team just with the roster construction.
Yeah,
it's tough.
They really are. I don't have anything else from today's game before we get into the starters and, predictions for tomorrow and the rest of the series. But do you guys have anything you wanted to talk about from today?
I do want to bring up Bayo. I think it's important to bring up his performance.
course.
Again, if anyone listening, listen to our episode after his opening performance in Detroit. I had a lot of skepticism around this. Does not convince me otherwise. I'm not saying that tonight's performance does, but tonight's lineup in terms of the Phillies lineup, what he faced was a lot better than what I saw in Detroit, right? Very similar level of dominance in terms of shutdown innings and, weak contact, nothing too crazy in terms of like pitches and whatever, but he did his job. He worked his innings, kept the score what it was. It has to be tough entering the game and you're already down two. Like that's not something Bayo has to be used to mentally too. When he comes in and you're already down 1-0 in the second inning.
But sometimes he's responsible for that, so I don't really think
that's different.
Much of a difference.
That's different.
I mean, dude, that game in Baltimore, he gave up a leadoff homer to Gunnar. He was down after one pitch. Like, I get what you're saying, but it's also like
I should have said
a bunch this season.
He's not used to warm up in the bullpen, coming out of the bullpen to a 1-0 deficit, right? But again, what I was saying though, this is a deadly lineup against really bad pitching. And he did his job really well. This game right now convinced me a lot more in terms of his potential being not an opener, but playing in these opener type games.
Yeah, I thought he
in the major
was
leagues.
Very impressive tonight.
In the major leagues.
Yeah. No, he was definitely impressive tonight. It was something that you didn't really know what you were going to get coming into the game, but he was excellent through 6 1/3, and like you said, Will, in a different spot coming out of the bullpen. Not used to that setting, but he was very good mixing his pitches in nicely. I think the pitch effectiveness has been better in terms of the pitch percentage and the pitch usage, kind of keeping guys off balance more, like we talked about, tapping into the four-seamer, not relying on the sinker changeup combo as much, making sure that everything else is mixed in. I think Bailey has done a much better job with that since that Baltimore start, and I think we've seen it pay dividends. And if this is what works going forward and this is what helps him mentally, then keep it going. So I think overall, impressed with him again. Would like to see it continue going for another few starts, but very, very impressed with Bayo. One point I did want to make tonight, Nick, just while talking about contracts before getting into the starters for tomorrow, the Phillies have shown you, and other team. I mean, look, the Phillies have shown you because they have Dombrowski and we have Dombrowski for 4 years, but I just missed the accountability of Dombrowski. Like I know we talked about it after Cora got fired, but he was so accountable, saying, "Yeah, I offered Cora the job. I call him. I called him. He called me. He calls me one of his mentors. He was, if that was Breslow or that was Bloom, they would have been like, yeah, we may or may not have had some discussions about, bringing somebody back, but we're not going to get into those matters. But one thing, it
would have been a way more word salad than that. It would have been like,
sure. Breslow would have said 300 words to say nothing in terms of whether Cora was contacted or not. But, the Phillies have shown you that they can make it. You can make it work with big contracts. And Dombrowski showed us that when he was here. And it's like obviously that helped having the homegrown guys that you had in Xander, in Benny, in Bradley, in Betts, obviously. But the big contracts still work. John Henry, they still work. Craig Breslow, like you can spend money and have a successful team and make it work. And obviously the Phillies haven't gotten to the mountaintop yet with this core. This is, one of the last hurrahs, but they've shown that it can work. So it's like maybe take a page out of Dombrowski's book. And he shouldn't have gotten fired in the first place in 19. That's for sure. Like obviously that was over him wanting to pay Betts, and Henry didn't. But
I'd much rather have a team that goes to the NLCS and the World Series year after year than a team that is mediocre or worse every single year.
Yeah, so and then when it crashes and burns eventually, when the guys get old, at least you have hopefully a trophy to look back on, but if not, a great era of baseball to look back on.
If worst case scenario, this Phillies era is the Tigers era, then so be it. It sucks if you're a Phillies fan. It sucks if you were a Tigers fan under the Dombrowski eras. It's cool because the Red Sox got their World Series.
It doesn't fully suck though because you have a chance every year.
But yes, those Tigers teams were getting the World Series, and you knew were the best team in the American League for 4 to 6 seasons. The same with this Phillies team. You knew you had a chance every single season, no matter what.
And you don't just harp and celebrate just wild card appearances like this current team does.
Correct. Yeah. Well, appearance. Like they've had one wild card appearance in the last 4 years, 2 since Dombrowski got fired, and it's like this is not a team. This is the Red Sox used going back to feeding the monster. They used to be big market baseball in Boston, trying to win the division and win a World Series every single year. Now they're just happy to win 86 games and maybe be the third wild card. Like that shouldn't be what the Boston Red Sox are. Shouldn't be what the Phillies are. Shouldn't be what the Yankees are. But those teams operate like they want to win a World Series, and they're showing it this year. The Red Sox certainly aren't.
Yeah, of course not. Tomorrow it's going to be Andrew Painter against Sonny Gray. I think that was the one that we kind of thought the Red Sox had a chance on. If Sonny Gray comes out and does exactly what we think he can do, go maybe 6 innings, 1 or 2 runs, I think the Red Sox offense can score against Andrew Painter. But again, you never know. Andrew Painter could come in there. This is Fenway Park. The Red Sox can't do anything there this season. So I'm expecting another low-scoring game, and you never know. But if we're going to win one, hopefully it's this one.
And Gray isn't getting whiffs anymore since coming off the IL. He's like that. That's, I think, the biggest concern is that a lineup like the Phillies, who does have some swing and missing it, Gray isn't getting whiffs, and I'm sure Schwarber or Harper will take him over the bullpen in right field tomorrow. We'll see. But yeah, I don't have many hopes for this offense tomorrow. I think if there's a game that they're going to win, it's going to be a pitcher's duel on Thursday because Ranger keeps them in the game, and he's motivated against his former team.
We have a commenter on the YouTube side of things who, man, you have some great sayings over there for a Phillies fan, but I'm with James too. I just don't see it happening tomorrow. Andrew's gonna paint.
Nice trolling on his 6.5 ERA, buddy.
But again, knowing how the Red Sox make semi decent pitchers look like Cy Young Award winners, we're gonna see Andrew paint.
No. Yeah, he's going to go 6, probably give up 2 or 3 and keep them in the game. So
a Mickey Gasper homer tomorrow. That's my prediction.
There we go. I'll take it. If you want a prediction on someone going deep, I think Marcelo leaves the yard again.
I don't have a prediction, but the final thought I wanted to bring up today, I don't know if you guys saw it. The talk on Twitter today was Mike Trout to the Red Sox. I don't know if you saw Mike Felger and his
I don't listen to anything Felger says.
A loose source.
Nobody should listen to anything Felger says.
Anything Felger says, man. He sucks and he blows.
He said he had a loose source that there was a chance that Mike Trout would be coming to the Red Sox. It brought a lot of stir to Red Sox Twitter today, and I did not participate in it because I knew it was a bunch of fake stuff. But it was really funny.
A loose source. All right, I have a loose source that this team sucks. All right. What else do you need?
The package people were talking was Jaron Duran, Brian Bayo for Mike Trout. The logistics and the money would never work. Where are you going to put him? You trade an outfielder for an outfielder that just makes your logjam even worse. And Mike Trout's going to play 65 to 80 games a year, and you're just going to have the biggest contract in the sport just sitting on your bench. So I as much as I think Mike Trout would bring excitement to this Red Sox team, it's not stupid move, and the loose source is stupid as well.
It's 0.0000001% realistic. There is a 0% chance of this happening. I don't know why Felger would even bring it up. It's just talk radio trying to get clickbait and trying to get more viewers, and I'm sure that's what it was, because that shouldn't be a thought that anyone entertains. It's not happening. It never was going to happen. It never will happen, and that's it.
We will sooner see Alex Cora come back next year as a player than Mike Trout taking swings in a Red Sox uniform.
At this point in his career, I think Mike Trout just blocks a trade anywhere, no matter where it is.
Yeah.
Nah, not until Atlanta trades for him.
That'd be crazy.
I don't know, man. I don't know where they play them. They're so perfect of a team right now. They want pitching, I feel like. Austin Riley's a little bit underperforming, but that team's just clicking on all cylinders. Why are you going to bring someone else in there?
I'm just saying in general that would be a location that makes sense. I don't know why Felger made us speculate on Mike Trout trade destinations, but
because there's nothing else to talk about right now besides Mike Vapril.
Yeah, the Celtics completely imploded, ended the season early. The Patriots, there's nothing to talk about. But Philly fans, enjoy AJ Brown for the next 3 weeks until he comes up to New England. So enjoy your victory tonight. But
Mike gonna have to practice uppercut swings at good old Fenway to hit homers. I think Mike Trout back in the day would love Fenway Park for
Mike Trout would still love Fenway Park.
But yeah, I just don't think he's gonna stay healthy enough to perform there. But it's never gonna happen. Yeah. Do you guys have anything else from tonight you want to bring up?
Not much. Just excited for this weekend series against the Braves, to watch the Braves play. It gives me an excuse to watch them play.
Good team. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to the game on Sunday. I can't believe I have to see Bayo again.
No way he lines up again with your game.
It's going to be the 5th time in the last 3 years that I've seen him. It's actually unbelievable.
At least you'll see Moran start the first inning.
Whoop-de-doo. I swear. The 5th time in the last 3 years that I've seen him. It never ends. He's like,
crazy.
James Higgins is buying a ticket to this game. I'm for sure going to make sure I pitch.
When I was a kid,
coach.
It was always Tim Wakefield. And I know it's kind of special now, but back in the day, it was like, I'm going to get to see the knuckleballer every single time. Like,
no, I get that.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool when you look back at it and he's gone, unfortunately. But yeah, I kind of feel what you're saying. Brian Bayo is not a Tim Wakefield. He'll never be remembered like that in Red Sox history. So it's not the same thing.
Yeah, I just like when I thought when they pushed Suarez back to the Phillies series, he was going to start the first one because he had already been on long rest. I was like, oh, cool. It'll line up to see Suarez. It'll be cool to see him in his first year in a Red Sox uniform. Nope, just get Brian Bayo again. And honestly, the games that he's pitched, like it's been pretty underwhelming. Like obviously, the start in Baltimore last year was the worst start of his career. Forget of the season, but the other starts were just it's typical Bayo start, like not super impressive, not anything that's, totally off the rails usually. But yeah,
I will say Thursday's Phillies series finale here. Tons of rain in the forecast. Might get bumped, might get delayed till, rescheduled for some other date. I don't think it's going to happen because it's a Phillies series interleague game. But either way, something for you to hope for.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they probably won't call the game until 6:40 with the game starting at 6:45 so they can get their beer and hot dog concessions at, money made. And, they obviously have 35,000 people in the stadium, and then they'll call it. I think that is absolutely
it's one of the worst things
the Red Sox keep doing that.
Awful.
Carabas also said on Section 10 yesterday's episode that he knew that there were parking attendants that he heard through sources. There were parking attendants at parking lots that were still taking the $60 parking fee after the game had been called because people didn't know. Obviously, you pull up for a 4:10 game at 4:07 in the garage. You're not going to think the game is canceled. And then, 3 minutes later, they go to pull out the garage. They won't refund them. Like, oh, we thought you were just here to park in the city. It's like, yeah,
right.
Yeah, but John Henry,
$60,
John Henry can't spend a dime on Pete Alonso this offseason or Kyle Schwarber, whoever it may be.
Meanwhile, the Woo Sox canceled their game on that day 3-4 days in advance.
Minor league baseball, family friendly.
Love it.
So, someone who's worked in minor league baseball and major league baseball, minor league baseball is completely up to the organization when they can call it whenever the hell they want. It's completely different in the major leagues. It's kind of up to the umpires. It's kind of up to both teams.
Really up to Major League Baseball.
It's up to Major League Baseball as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more things that there is. From my understanding, it's up to the home team until the game starts. And then once the game starts, it's out of everybody's hands. That's what I've heard. I don't know how true that is, but
yeah,
I don't know. So obviously, if it's up to the Red Sox, they're going to push as much money out there as they want,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
If you guys don't have anything else,
I just saw a comment come in say you will win the series. I would love to have that optimism. At best, I thought 1 out of 3 going into the series. That's what we all thought. There's nothing. The NL East is going to kick our teeth in these next 5 games, 6 including tonight, and that'll be that.
If Star Wars is referring to the Mets series later on in the year, we might win that series. But even that's a toss up.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to win a single game in this series, unfortunately. If they win tomorrow, I'll be happy. If not, I think the sweep's coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys don't have anything else, I think we should call it on here. This episode will be uploaded to Spotify and Apple Podcasts very shortly, and we'll be coming back to you guys very soon. Thank you guys for watching.